We're going to talk about how to solve by factoring. So the process is pretty simple and self-explanatory. You're going to set the equation equal to 0. You're going to factor as much as you can, and then you're going to set each factor equal to 0 and solve for x. So let's go ahead and see how that plays out. So for instance, this problem, first thing I'll do is I'll subtract that x squared from both sides. So I end up with 4x to the 4th plus 7x squared minus 2 equals 0. Now, in this unit, we've learned a lot of different factoring techniques. We've learned how to factor if it's quadratic. This one's not quadratic because our highest exponent is 4, not 2. We've learned quadratic forms, though. That's 3-term problems, where the highest exponent is twice as big as this middle exponent. So we can factor this as if it were a quadratic. So I'm going to go ahead and find factors of 4 and factors of 2. Well, the factors of 2 are 1 and 2. I'll try 1 and 4 first. If that doesn't work, I'll try 2 and 2. So I'm just trying to pair them up. So I'll try the 4 with the 2 and the 1 with the 1, where one of them is negative. Well, 4 times 2 is 8. Times 1 is 1, and 8 minus 1 gives us 7. So I know I found the correct pairing. So I have 4x squared and then a 1x squared. And the 4 goes with the 2, so they're going to be in different parentheses, and it's going to be a positive 2, and this will be a minus 1. Then we're going to go ahead and see at this point, this is still equal to 0. We're going to see if anything continues to factor, because both of these are now quadratics. So let's see if they are perfect squares or difference of perfect squares. So this one, 4 and 1 are perfect squares, and it's a difference, so subtraction. So I can keep factoring, so I have 2x plus 1, 2x minus 1, and then this last one would be x squared plus 2. That one, 2, is not a perfect square. That's why I didn't factor that one down more. At this point, I'm going to go ahead. I've factored as much as possible. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is set each factor equal to 0 and solve. So I have 2x plus 1 equals 0. So 2x equals negative 1, or x equals negative 1 over 2. So we have negative 1/2. We have 2x minus 1 equals 0. So 2x equals 1, or x equals positive 1/2. And then our last one over here is x squared plus 2. Now, just remember that our highest exponent tells us how many answers we should get. It's going to be really important right here on this problem. So I subtract 2 and take the square root. But remember, we only have 2 answers so far. And when you take the square root, you should have 2 more additional answers. So don't forget the plus or minus, and then we'll put the I in front, square root of 2. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3, 4 total solutions for this to the 4th power. And we're including imaginary solutions when we solve. Let's go ahead and see another one. So we're going to find the zeros of x squared plus 7x plus 3. Now this one says it differently. So this one said solve. This one's saying find the zeros. Finding the zeros means the same thing. So like you could imagine this is equal to 0, you don't have to. But moral of the story is we need a factor first if it factors. Well, there are no factors of 3 that will add up to 7. And so that tells me this does not factor, which means I'm going to have to use the quadratic formula. So the x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, all of that over 2a. So our a being 1, b is 7, c is 3. So let's just plug it in. So x equals negative 7 plus or minus the square root of 7 squared minus 4 times a times c, all of that over 2 times a. So we have, let's simplify that. Let's find our discriminant first. 7 squared is 49. So we're doing 49 minus 12. So I'm going to break it down a bit. And so it's negative 7 plus or minus the square root of, that would be 37 over 2. Now 37 doesn't break down anymore, so I can't simplify the square root. So that's those are my solutions. There's 2 of them because the plus or minus, which this squared told us there should be 2. All right, let's do another one. So this one's an equation, so I'm going to go ahead and, oops, forgot I was on highlighter. I'm going to move everything to one side. So I'm going to add 14x and 8 to to both sides. So we have x cubed plus 7x squared plus 14x plus 8 equals 0. Now, 4 terms, when you see 4 terms, you typically do grouping method, but I can tell just offhand that grouping method's not going to work, so we're going to have to use synthetic. All of these, by the way, are positive, which tells me I'm going to want to put a negative number in, so I'm going to go ahead and try -1 first. So this would be -1, because -1 cubed is -1, plus a positive 7, minus a 14, plus an 8. So that would be a 6, and I'll do this, minus 6, which is 0, boom, we are good. So -1 is our winner. So I'm going to do it off over here. So we got -1, 1, 7, 14, and 8. Bring down that 1 and start doing my synthetic division. And I'll go ahead and write down my factors. Once again, don't forget your factor from the box. So we have x plus 1. And then we have x squared plus 6x plus 8 equals 0. And then also don't forget that if this factors down more, we want to factor it. So we have x plus 1, and then this is going to be x plus 4, x plus 2, because that factors down more. And now I can go ahead and find my zeros, or my answers, or roots, however you want to say it. So we got x equals -1, x plus 4, if that's equal to 0, then x equals -4. And then if x plus 2 equals 0, then x has to equal -2. So there are your 3 solutions, which makes sense since it was to the 3rd power. There should have been 3 solutions.